Financial advisors in Australia say that by your mid-40s, you should have around 500,000 in super, and I'm 45. I can tell you now, I don't have anywhere near that. And last Friday, my husband was made redundant, which means I have the sole income in our household. I'm definitely not looking for sympathy because I don't do that. I'm bringing it up because this is a quiet reality that a lot of people are carrying, particularly in the Western world. And almost no one's talking about it, especially women over 40. There's this unspoken idea that by now you should have it all sorted, and that if you don't, there must be something wrong with you, or you're naive, or you make bad choices, or you're irresponsible. The list is endless. But that story ignores a hell of a lot. It ignores unstable industries, it ignores underpaid or non-paid labor, like child rearing. It ignores creative work, it ignores care work, it ignores reality. And for most of my adult life, I worked as a performer, as a creative, was a full-time performing artist, as an opera singer, freelance, contract-based. That is gig to gig, which means there were years I earned well, and then there were others which I earned below the poverty line. And super, well, yeah, super was not really a consideration because money's being earned on an ABN, a business number, and therefore earning an income, paying yourself an income is not enough to be able to pay the bills that are required first, to keep the roof over your head, to keep the food on the table, to make sure that you're making it to gigs. And I know that this is for a lot of performers, we talk about looking after it once things stabilize, and then it doesn't. It really does. And then in 2020, it all happened. The arts were annihilated, particularly in this country and certainly overseas. Everything stopped completely. And suddenly all those conversations you push away were front and center, retirement, savings, security. And the government wasn't supporting anyone, particularly in this country. And it all came crashing down. So I pivoted. I retrained as a teacher, started rebuilding, and added to the $100,000 HEX debt that I already had. However, these last few years, I actually thought we were getting somewhere. And then last Friday, my husband came home and told me that he'd been made redundant. And this is now the second time in a few years that I'll be carrying that financial weight with one income. It is my teaching job that's holding it together. There's a particular kind of fear that shows up when this happens, and not many people talk about it. It's not loud. It's not like everything crumbles kind of fear. It's very quiet and very practical and very specific. And that is the realization that you don't have decades to fix this anymore. You don't have the luxury of time or energy, endless energy, or the ability to hustle harder. Because by now, if you're watching this, you probably know that, burnout's a thing. And if you haven't burnt out once, you're going to. If you haven't lived your life in a way that's aligned. And so I've burned out at least twice in my life. And when he told me, we decided to look at the numbers. Again, we do. We look at it regularly. That is something that my husband and I are very good at. We look at the numbers regularly. And we go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and we look at where the bills are going and look at what we've got, what assets we've got, what we need. And often it's the need question that gets revisited. And you look at it very carefully. Do you need what you think you need? We also looked at our timelines. My husband's nearly 52. I'm 45. We're not young spring chickens anymore. But we're also not old. Nothing changes, however. What does the end of this actually look like? And frankly, that question, I didn't like the answer, but I also didn't panic because panic makes bad decisions, emotional decisions, and that's not where this is headed. So here is what's actually happening. I'm teaching full time for now because that's our safety net. But what's keeping the lights on while we figure this out and the aircon running because we're in far north Queensland, which is stupid hot. I have a business called the Quantum Voice Mentor. If you're not familiar with it, go and check it out. If you're someone who is training to be a speaker or uses their voice for presence for training others in business, in all sorts of scenarios, it is something that I work with. I help develop voices, very powerful voices. And that's something I've done since I started doing this whole opera singing gig. It is a small business right now, but the goal is to make it replace my teaching income at the very least. At the moment, it's not doing that. It's barely scratching the surface. But it is something that I am exceptional at. I'm very good at. I'm very experienced at. I am an expert in, a master of. And it's something that I really enjoy doing. It lights me up. And something that I want to grow. And I'm also refusing to hustle. I know that sounds counterintuitive when you're in a position like this, but if you've burnt out once before, you don't want to do it again. I've burnt out twice, so I'm definitely not doing it again. So the goal is to build the foundations slowly, sustainably is the key word, and in a way that doesn't destroy me or my nervous system along the way. And I want it to build something, and I am very much questioning what I need, what I actually need to feel safe and also to feel free, because freedom is such a big value for me. To feel like I have choices, because that's a big part of what's missing for a lot of women. I'm not going to stop working. I enjoy work when it's creatively aligned. I just want to stop feeling trapped. I don't dream of a traditional retirement by any means. I definitely want to be working creatively and thoughtfully on my own terms, well into my 80s, 90s, etc. And earning in a way that doesn't destroy me in this very masculine driven world. I'm not afraid of the future, but I also know that there's things that need to be put into place, and it's not the traditional plan. It's multiple income streams, it's diversification, it's lowering overheads in a way that becomes freer. Less stuff. Not that I have a lot of stuff to begin with, but less stuff in general, more agency. At the moment, we have a rental property which is in another part of this state, and we're trying to sell it, and I'm trying to get a loan, of which we now have to reconsider because there is not that second income coming in. I apparently can't get the loan on my own because I'm a woman who apparently should still be having kids at 45, even though we don't have children. So the financial system is so royally effed, specifically for women. It is not built for us, and therefore we still challenge it. We have to challenge it. We are still spoken down to. We are still ill considered by mainstream financial services. And it is tiring, frankly. This is also where I want my creative return. I want that to be a big part of my life again, because for me, creativity is not just expression, it is who I am. It's adaptability, it's my problem solving, it's my ability to build the unexpected. I spent over 25 years as a performer, and that is not wasted time. it taught me so many things that are so valuable now, like how to read a room, how to use my voice, how to perform under pressure, how to connect deeply with people, how to read people, how to translate people into teaching or voice work, building new things, know how to pivot. And I can pivot so quickly. and it's a mastery skill. I'm very, very good at it. And I know that I'm good at it. So, yes, I'm bringing performance back, but maybe not always on stage. I really want to create my works. I really want to be able to fund, produce works, which is something that I have always wanted to do, to be able to create and provide for a lot of creative community work that doesn't exist, particularly now, because that's actually who I am. And pretending otherwise hasn't really served me. So I don't entirely know what my financial future looks like yet. I'm figuring that out. I don't have all the answers. I don't have any answers at this point. But I do know that ignoring it won't make it any better. And I also know that the conventional systems won't make it any better. Particularly now, look at it all. It's all crumbling. But shaming myself also won't make it better. So I'm facing it head on, very calmly, one decision at a time. And this channel is part of that. Not as an exit strategy per se, but as an infrastructure, as an accountability partner, as a way to document what I'm doing, to build visibility for my business, create a body of work, multiple bodies of work to connect with other people who are rebuilding also. And eventually, yes, to create money, to make money, to receive money, but slowly, steadily, no burning out. So if you're watching this, welcome. Hi. I know that tight feeling in the chest. You're not alone on this. And you're not stupid. You're not late. You're just being asked to think differently. The script we've been handed. And this channel isn't about pretending everything's fine. This channel is about celebrating as I rebuild sovereignty, financial sovereignty, creative sovereignty, and honest documentation with real numbers, and real fears, and real discussions, and real hope. That's where I'm at. So yeah, we're not hiding. I'm here with you all, and see you on the other side.